thank you for joining us tonight. And I want you to know, residents of Ponderosa Hills, that these representatives here are all the different departments of the city, and they've come out to answer your questions. So, I have like a little PowerPoint that talks about kind of every district member has discretionary funds that they can spend. Some examples of where I've decided the priorities are. They focus on schools, making sure all the signs and all of the safety features are needed so kids can get to school safely. There are a couple of projects that have been done in District 3, not quite around your neighborhood. I know we had an issue with the blue box coming in off of Fairfield in the church parking lot. Oh, I'm sorry. I just feel like it's so, oh goodness, casual because we're such a small group. But I do appreciate you coming out. I think as council members, we represent so many neighborhoods. I represent over 20 neighborhoods in District 3. And each one is, they share, of course, similarities, but each one's unique in different places. They have different issues. And as much as I try to drive around and see what's going on, I don't live there. I don't know what's going on in your neighborhoods. So I'm very grateful when you come out and you can share your concerns with me and with all these city representatives so that the city services can be directed to where you see the needs. And that's what I hope this evening will be, that you'll take advantage of all the departments that are here, ask me questions, and we can get your concerns addressed. Because as a city, that's what we should be doing for you. If I could ask the departments to stand up so that the people here know who's representing and which departments are here.
Good afternoon. Benito Martinez, Laredo Police Department, La Policía de Laredo.
Thank you.
Well, my name is Ruben Dominguez. I'm with the Laredo Fire Department.
Captain Victory Dowdy, Laredo Fire Department.
Please.
JJ Gomez, Parks Director for City of Laredo Parks Department.
Buzz Fishker, Director of Water Utilities.
Dr. Richard Chamberlain, Laredo Public Health.
Lauren Bluestone, Animal Services.
Good evening.
Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Marcela Cervantes, Community Development.
Hello, Miriam Castillo, Economic Development.
Oh, sorry.
No, everybody else. I'm John Porter with Environmental and Solid Waste.
Juan Vasquez, Code Enforcement.
Tracy Javier Castañeda with Code Enforcement as well.
And then we have representatives of our Public Information Office as well. And Ale Quintanilla is my assistant, and she's also available. We have a city number, and you can call her and talk to her, and all of those messages get directly to me if you can't get a hold of me. So, should we start with this, and then we'll do questions? Okay. So I don't know if any of you heard about the Corpus Christi Street renovation. It was a project started under the previous council member, 4 blocks to replace things underground, so sewer lines and water utility lines, and then to create what they call a complete street. So Corpus Christi Street is one of the oldest streets in the city. It was not that wide, but wide enough. What they did is they took out a little bit of space off of that street to create better walking path, bike path, and landscaping. And all of that was to make it more pedestrian friendly so that people could get from point A to point B on the street and feel safer when doing that. The grand idea of this is to extend it to Arkansas. This was done with a combination of community development block grant funds and district priority funds, which are the funds that are given to council members for brick and mortar projects. But there was, federal dollars as well. This project has been looking for federal funds now for a couple of cycles. We're still trying to get some help to extend it. It's a very expensive proposition to do this because when you're digging on a very old street, there are all sorts of Easter eggs that you find underneath. And so we need to replace those water lines, but it's an expensive proposition to do. So hopefully we'll find some funding in the future, and then probably it would require some priority funds too to extend it. And the idea is to extend it to, all the way to Arkansas, and then in the other side of it, which is not necessarily District 3, but it would run from Cedar Avenue to the highway. And then, like I said, what I have tried to do as far as directing these priority funds is to make sure that the schools have upgraded signs. So every school that exists in every district should have stop signs all around. They have speed bumps, they have crosswalks, and they have signage so that drivers know to slow down and kids know where to cross. All of that wears out, the paint fades, and we've found some schools where they had not put in all the stop signs that they needed to do. And every project like this is several $1,000s, but this seems to me a good way to spend those priority funds to make sure that the schools are safe and parents can get their kids to school safely. So we've been, we started kind of on the western side of the district, and we're working our way east. And we've done Lamar, San Agustin, Memorial, Middle. Also, what's not on here is, I want to say Dikes, it's not Dikes. DDHR, sorry. DDHR has also been included in this and will continue to review. Now, as we get farther down 359, like Killam Elementary, Zaffarini, the school, Freedom, those are newer schools. So probably are not going to find the same issues that we did with our older schools. There was a major project for utility repair on Garfield Street, and that also used some of the priority funds because it just, sometimes if it's not in the utility department plan, if it's a major break, then they'll ask council members to expend some of their funds that they have available so that the project can get done more quickly. And that's what happened at Garfield Street, and that's right by Blessed Sacrament. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to pass by the Canseco House. That is also in District 3 on the corner of Chihuahua and Seymour. It is a beautiful old home. Right now, the Laredo Center for Urban Agriculture and Sustainability is housed there, and it's a kind of a public-private partnership. They run community gardens out of the lands there next to the home. And we had some students from Lamar Middle School approach me asking if they could paint a mural. And so the first site that they chose was here at Canseco House. We're looking at other sites in the district for this next school year. And they were amazing. These kids did an amazing job. Oh, I wish we need to get a full picture of the mural. But I hope you take the opportunity to visit. It is open to the public, and it represents a real teaching moment for our community where people can get advice about what to grow and when to grow to have their own garden in their home. But it's also been a launch pad to take this to the schools. And so now there are different schools in our city that are opening up community gardens as teaching tools for the kids. So you're talking about science, hands-on learning, and learning about our environment and how to be stewards of the environment. And that's all aligned to the standards that they need to learn in school. And it's a curriculum that engages them. And then they write about their experiences. So it's been a really neat partnership. There was a big sidewalk project. This was for, again, Memorial Middle School because there was a big need. And I think we're looking at DDHR to see for the next kind of project for sidewalks, all with the intent of getting kids to school safely. So there are a couple of street projects that are coming up with the Texas Department of Transportation. So there are streets in our city, most of them the city controls, but there are major thoroughfares that actually belong to the Texas Department of Transportation. And Chihuahua and Guadalupe, which lead into 83, those are two roads controlled by the Texas Department of Transportation. And the HEB on Guadalupe has seen a lot of people crossing Guadalupe to get there for years. I've been in the district for over 30 years. Ever since I got here, I've seen people cross that street. And it's not just when there are no cars running, it's in between the traffic when the light at Seymour kind of holds it, even though there's heavy traffic, and then they'll run across the street to get to the HEB. It's incredibly unsafe. And with the help of the Laredo Police Department arranging a meeting, we were able to talk to HEB and coordinate with the Texas Department of Transportation. They will be installing a crosswalk and 2 streetlights there at Stone and McPherson so that people can cross safely to get to the grocery store. It attracts so much neighborhood traffic, which is great, but we do, again, need to make sure that people are safe when they're crossing. It's important that the Texas Department of Transportation is doing this because a major street light can run up to $350,000. And so I know I don't understand prices either, but this way the Texas Department of Transportation is investing in Laredo with their dollars to do that. And, okay, and then Haynes Rec Center is a recreation center off of Clark, and we're working on putting signage there. It is an $8 million facility. It has exercise classes, swimming pool, a splash bucket, programs for kids in the summer, a lot of amenities, and it's, I think, $5 a month for a membership. 15 for 3 months. So very, very low cost, and I just think people need to know where it is. We are so busy in our lives, and it's easy to forget, but if there's a sign, a wayfinding sign, it just makes it easier for people to get accustomed to how to find it and then be able to take advantage of the amenities. So we're working on signage for that. There's another project that has been years in the making. I don't know who would know about how many years this project has been out there, but since the previous council member, to do, again, sidewalks. This would be in the Heights to connect San Agustin Elementary to Lamar Middle School, and it's grant-based. And the grant was really based on connecting schools. So very explicit, and it got funded. It'll put sidewalks on Mier and have people being able to get to the school more safely. That's always what we're looking for. So for some people, the old hospital remains kind of this big thorn in the side. We are working with the developers now. I just want to assure people that it is still it's a private facility. The developers are moving forward with what they need to do. They've invested please come in. They've invested about over $400,000 in creating plans to attract investors. And the city is in those conversations and following it because, one, we wanted them to increase security, which they did. They also put in lights in the parking lot to reduce the people trying to get in. We're talking about the old hospital property. And I will tell you that Sister Rosemary of the Sisters of Mercy has asked me not to call it the Old Mercy Hospital because they would have never left it like that had they known. So she wanted to be very clear, it's the old hospital. But we are trying to encourage and help where we can, but it is a private development at this point. There is a judgment against the hospital, that the fines are still accumulating, and at some point, perhaps the city will need to come in. But you're talking about a multi-million-dollar project, and with an overall price tag to develop it completely of about $50 million. So we feel that it is in our best interests to work alongside the developer and make sure that things are happening so that we can finally see it get developed. But the city is not taking over, we do not have any rights to that property at this point in time. So. What's next? So we're also working on a transportation reinvestment zone. And what that means is, you've seen a lot of development and new subdivisions coming up, whether it's activity around your neighborhood. 359 is also growing with new neighborhoods. Creating a transportation reinvestment zone means you outline the property and tag what the taxing level is at this moment in time. And then any future development, a percentage of the tax will be saved for projects that help improve connectivity and tag to transportation projects in the future. That's what a transportation reinvestment zone does. It's not a sort of, if the city isn't collecting all of the tax, it's not being led to the developers. I know there's some confusion with TRZs and then also the tax incentive reinvestment zone. All of that means it's tax that perhaps isn't going into the general coffers, but it is still collected to be saved for these big projects that will help improve that specific area. Does that make sense? So we are working on doing that for this, the 359 extension and a little bit farther south, so that we can work on road projects to get better connectivity. The secondary water source has been in the news lately. I don't know, I think it's more upfront and in people's minds because of the boil water notice and the issues that we had with the aging infrastructure. So we have several paths that we have to keep moving forward on. First is dealing with the aging water infrastructure. And we have Mr. Pishker here, Interim Water Director, in case you have questions with what that focus is and what has been going on in the utilities department since the boil water notice. But at the same time, we can't forget that we need to develop secondary water sources. That in about 17 years, it's not that the Rio Grande will dry up. The Rio Grande right now is 100% our only source of drinking water. In the future, because of the growth that we're seeing with trade and with people continuing to move in, we expect that the demand for water will exceed our ability, our water rights, to draw water from the Rio Grande. So it's not everything, but we need to be looking for other sources to provide that water so that we can continue to grow. So looking for secondary water sources, whether it's more storage in the ground and we can take water that we can take now and stick it there for later use, or looking for other sources. If you've heard of the Telis development in middle of Webb County, they will be providing a water source. And so it is the closest new source of water to us. So it makes sense for us to participate in those discussions so that we can draw from their water source at whatever amount we feel we need. But we should also look for other sources. And the city of Phoenix has 5 different water sources, and they're in the middle of a desert. It's just we must secure secondary water so that we can have water security in the future. And that's an ongoing project that we're working on. The Amistad Dam is kind of part of our, what we look for water security. It is north of us in Del Rio. It stores 2 years of water for us, And right now, there's discussion with Mexico because Mexico provides about 1/3 of the total water in the Amistad Reservoir. And we're trying to be part of those conversations to ensure that Mexico is providing the water that it needs to for our water security and our water storage. And then the Binational River Conservation Project. This has come up before council, and I don't think it's well understood, but the idea is that in developing water security, we're taking care of right now, our only source of water, but what will continue to be our primary source of water, which is the Rio Grande. There are a lot of invasive species along the riverbank, and it works to our benefit if we can do projects that remove the invasive species and replant with native species. That is an expensive proposition. There is a pilot project going on right now by Las Palmas, which is right there by Bridge 2 along the river, to do exactly that, to remove some of these invasive species that suck up, up to 100 gallons of water a day for a salt cedar tree. And every Carrizo cane plant can suck up to 30 gallons a day. So when we can remove those and replace them, then we have more water available for our needs in the future. Oh goodness. So this is, I did ask for some information about the boil water notice. I think I'll leave this for you to ask questions about, unless you'd like me to go through it. It's a timeline for everything that happened. No? If you have any questions, then we can talk about it later. So the reason why I called you all here today is because I did have some inquiries from a couple of people who, unfortunately, the timing of this meeting did not work for their schedule. And it seemed as if they had indicated to me that there was a demand for some information about their neighborhood. I think we have a project that is specific to your neighborhood to talk about a little bit. I don't know if Mr. Porter wants to come up here. Just so if you, and some of you, I spoke to Mary Lou, Mr. Barra, and she said that she didn't even realize that they're moving dirt a little bit north of the neighborhood on the other side of Fairfield. And it's for a drainage detention pond. And that will eventually become a park for the neighborhood, because I know that's been a big question that I've heard from some of your neighbors. Unless you have other questions, would you be interested in hearing about the drainage project? Yeah.
Okay. So back in 2016, we've always had drainage problems in that area. And I know that, some of you are further south, but it's at the end of, help me out here. Trying to think of the street.
So it's north of Fairfield,
Or
south
Fairfield.
of 59.
Yes, yeah. So there's always been drainage problems there, and in 2016, we started looking at that and came up with an engineering report, and came up with solutions to that. And so fast forward, we already have plans, we've already done the design, and we're looking at a 4-acre detention pond that's going to hold back that water and release it slowly, and we want to take that water down Ramirez Drive and under Loop 20. And we've been back and forth with TxDOT. TxDOT apparently thinks you can send water uphill, but it didn't work that way. So that's why we didn't go north. But yeah, for the last number of years, we've been back and forth on TxDOT with this, and I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. And in fact, we're trying to set up a meeting next week with TxDOT, although with Thanksgiving it might be hard, but yeah, hopefully we'll resolve that issue. I know the landowner, Killam, had talked to TxDOT, and they were assured that no, it's going to go through. But that's what's been holding us back. Otherwise, we would have started construction. We had a development agreement signed, I want to say back in 2019, where we could have started this, but it's been held back by TxDOT.
Okay, we're gonna get it fixed.
We're gonna get it fixed.
So I did meet with Killam Development Company, and so they can see where the area is that they're digging right now and creating this detention pond, that there will be soccer fields and then other park amenities. It's been a long time, but it is finally moving forward. Thank you for being here. Just talking about the crowd, and I went through a little bit of how I've chosen to spend priority funds up to this point. And really, we're about ready to open up for questions.
Okay, I'll ask first.
Okay.
There's so much in my brain right now, but I'm gonna start with the whole cat thing. Oh, no, I don't need that. The whole cat thing,
Okay,
that they stopped picking up cats.
animal control.
Right, the first of the month, or of August. But if someone sees you feeding a cat, you can get fined. So in order for me to trap the cat, I have to feed it, and that just doesn't make sense to me. So we called, the process, what we're supposed to do, and they give us 3 cats per household. I have to wait 3 to 6 months. Meantime, they
You have to wait 3 to 6
continue
months.
to get in line to take it, to
Oh,
drop
okay.
it off. Meanwhile, they continue to
Cats.
procreate. Where before, I was always trapping cats because I'm like, this is out of control, and they always came to pick them up. That just doesn't make sense to me. And I just need someone to maybe explain why that was discontinued or why the city won't do that anymore.
Hi, I'm Lauren. Nice to meet you. So there are, first of all, let me be absolutely upfront and honest with you. There is an animal issue in the city. There has been an animal issue in the city. I cannot disagree with that in any way, shape, or form. What we are doing right now is a TNVR program, correct? Okay.
And what is that?
Oh, you are correct. Trap, neuter, vaccinate, release. Okay, that means that what we do is we do ask the public when they trap cats to set an appointment, which I know right now is frustrating and tricky, especially when dealing with feral cats, because you can't tell when they're gonna go in the trap. You can hope that if we have an appointment time, you'll be able to catch it, but you don't know. I completely understand your frustration. We are working on right now, there were some funding shifted to provide more veterinary services. And that's really what we're focusing in on. We move at a snail's pace, not gonna lie at that too. So it is a little bit cumbersome securing some of those funds, shifting them where they need to be so we can open up even more services for spays and neuters, specifically TNVR, so you're not on a waiting list. The waiting list right now, it is lengthy. We are calling people though, as we can secure more veterinarians to come down. They're not local. We have them coming from different areas to do mass spay and neuters on the weekends, which is slowly decreasing. So we hope that that list itself is going to get shorter and shorter, and we can actually try to do this in real time. That is the hope. I will tell you, it does take time, because none of this was established at all. Cats in Laredo, they have free domain. So having the officers go out there when we also have the current stray dog problem that we're really trying to focus on, because the citizens are definitely voicing their opinion on safety. So that we've kind of shifted focus on the stray dogs and really tried to kind of focus in on the TNVR for the cats. That's what's going on. Now the TNVR program, I'll be honest with you, it takes time. That is years and years and years in the making. So what that means is we start now, if we can do 70%, especially in a targeted area, right? You'll see the actual population decrease over time. It's just getting there. The officers also have been instructed, especially for community cats, because it is in our ordinance that you can feed them. what gets us in trouble sometimes is when we don't feed them on schedules, right? Because it attracts other things to the neighborhood. And that's where we get other constituents complaining that there's wildlife coming in, and this is a nuisance, and that is a nuisance. So what we're doing is we're really trying to work with community cat feeders, because honestly, at the end of the day, they are out there, and we want them to be healthy. Because most of the stray animals out there, not all, I've seen Facebook, are definitely, I mean, you have some chunky monkey ones running around, and that's because the people of Laredo actually care, and they are feeding them. So we don't want to necessarily discourage that. We would just ask that you work within the parameters of maybe doing it on a timely, like, so you put it out in the morning, pick it up. Don't leave out overnight, because that's when the wild animals come out. Yeah. I mean, that's our basic plan. It is a slow-moving process, and I do apologize for how frustrating this is. It is frustrating for all of us. It is frustrating for the city of Laredo. But we do know there's a problem. We know that what we have done in the past doesn't work. So we are implementing things on a long-term basis, big picture. Hard to see those instant results, but hopefully, as time goes by and we can secure the vet services, and we are diligently working on this. I think my boss is back there. He gets like 3 emails a day from me. Hey, where are we on the vet services? I promise you, that is what I can promise you, is how hard we are working to get those services in place for you guys.
And another animal issue.
I'm here.
My brother lives on North Arkansas, and 3 pit bulls murdered his dog.
Okay.
He put out flyers to find who these dogs belong to. They found them, and several people have reached out to him to tell him that they have called 311. They get put through dispatch, and nobody ever answers that phone for these 3 specific dogs.
311 dispatch?
Yes.
Okay.
So they'll say, you know, these dogs are loose. This woman has 10 dogs in her backyard. Are they waiting for these dogs to kill a child or an elderly person? They're like, we call and call and call, and they don't come out.
Okay.
Now, I have called.
Okay.
I see a stray dog. I love animals. I'll try to trap it, call the city. They've been pretty good about picking up a dog. But when I can't get it, you call 6 hours later, okay, well, the dog took off like 10 seconds after I called. How does that work when somebody's continuously calling, but animal control dispatch, or however it was that they put them through, they're not responding, not even to the address where these dogs are?
Okay. Here's what I'm going to say. I don't want to speak on behalf of 311 because I am really not privy to their processes.
Right.
We do work diligently with them, and I will tell you they are a very hard-working, department. So I'll first and foremost say that. But as far as like that information goes, I can't tell you where the breakdown is.
Okay.
What I can tell you is that if after this meeting, if you have an address for me, or I can give you my email, you can email me this address, we will definitely get somebody out there to address the issue at hand. That I will promise you. But as far as the breakdown goes from 311 to us, it's always a work in progress. They are inundated with animal calls. That's a guaranteed. And as far as response time, here's what I'm going to tell you. For stray dogs, we have priorities, right? So if there is a call that comes in, and this is just like fire and police, we're going to take the highest priority call. Something that's sick, something that's injured, hit by a car, that's our first tier priority. Or bite calls, something that it caused injury. Second tier, we go to the nuisance, more of the nuisance calls, or something that could be a cruelty. And when I say second tier, we try to respond within a 4-hour time frame. So it's not like, unless it's an imminent danger, then they get about 30 minutes, depending on if you can get across the city. At this point though, stray dogs are a little lower on the list. So it could be that you have an immediate officer out there because we don't have as many priority calls that day. It's when we do. That's where you're gonna see. So is there necessarily a consistency to it? No, it depends on the activity in the communities at that time frame. But that's kind of how we prioritize our calls. So sometimes we're spot on, we're right there, especially if you trap and contain, absolutely, because it does afford us a bit of time to get out there.
Right.
But we do priorities based on the severity of the situation.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have other questions? No?
That's all right, I'm good. Has anyone driven down, right here, down Dora, cul-de-sac? Okay. It's bad. The garbage is bad. Police has done a fantastic job in stopping all the trailers that have stopped there and have cited them and they've gone. But there's trash still there. I'm not asking to clean up the whole area, just 10 feet in. I can go right now, there's coolers, there's, your office was contacted about 2 mattresses that were thrown over there. If you go right here to the nutrition center, there's a lazy boy. Grass is already growing over it, okay? And right here down the street, I'm not asking, just right here. Like I said, the officers always patrol there. And if there's an issue where and a car is sitting there too long, I call them, the non-emergency line, they show up right away. Because it's right down the street from City Hall Annex. But that needs to get cleaned up. It needs to, I'm not asking to clean up that whole area. Just 10 feet in. It's bad. That street is gonna get warped already from all the trailers that have been parking there. That needs attention. I get it. You got a lot of areas to look at. And I've already contacted your office many times. Never got a response back. But that needs some attention. And it's, again, I'm not asking all over the place. Down the street, it's right here, down the City Hall Annex, right here.
Well, I think that's why
Yeah.
police has done a better job about being out there and
Oh, no, they're always there.
citing the
But
trailers.
we have been contacted by the councilman about trailers parking here and.
Oh, and you guys done a fantastic
So
job.
we've been addressing it, but we'll look at that and we can probably get public works to come and pick up the trash.
Well, and the issue has been, and I think maybe code enforcement can speak to it, is that it's private property.
I get that,
So
but you
when
know
it's
what?
siding-
You picked up the mattresses that were there, so you understand that that's a hazard
Yes.
that needs attention. So I know you've gone by, but also, like I said, there's a lazy boy. Grass is already almost hiding it.
Yeah, they probably skipped that. They didn't see it, I'm imagining.
It's red. I
We
mean,
can take it out,
it's.
our community service lieutenant, we'll have her look at it.
Okay. And code enforcement, is this something that can be addressed with the owner of the property?
Yes.
So that they can more frequently be held to account, that they take over kind of the review of the trash and make sure that they're doing their part?
Yes, we will report it to environmental because I believe other trash is being illegally dumped from what he's explaining. So we'll report it to them as well so they can advise the property owners so they can put some illegal dumping signs.
Illegal dumping is a huge issue, and it's not just this neighborhood, there are other neighborhoods
Yes.
too, where people are just careless and they don't understand that there's a cost, because every time someone dumps, and if the city has to go pick it up, that's on your sewer bill. The charge that you hate the most is for the garbage services. And so it just keeps increasing, and until people understand that every time they dump, they are actually creating pain to their own bill, it's a hard issue.
And this is not the first time. I've even gone to KGNS to talk about it. And they've even done a story on it. And yet, it still happens.
It still happens, it does. And I know that the police officers go out and they do the trailers, and we do get some cleanup, but people keep returning to do the same thing. And until we break that cycle, and I
Oh,
wish I
the
knew.
police have done a fantastic job. The line of trailers stretched almost from this City Hall Annex to the very end. We're talking about at least 12 trailers. Parked on and it's not a commercial area.
It's not a commercial area, no, sir.
And like I said, if you walk in the daytime, it's getting warped because of all the trailers.
Yes.
but they can't be the only ones, you know, doing their job there. Somebody else needs to step in and actually take a look. I mean, I live there. I've been there since 2007.
That's okay. I guess we'll discuss if there's
Yeah,
anything that we
Yeah,
can.
we have a community service lieutenant that works these type of issues, so we can have her look at it and then contact, any agency that needs to be contacted. So, we'll look into it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to say something. Yes, so one of the reasons I'm here today is because I live on Highway 359, 227 Old Milwaukee, which is where the country store is.
Okay.
I've lived there for the last 23 years, and you know, I love being there, and you know, it's been my home all my life, right? But recently, because of the amount of homes that have been constructed in that area with Gator Point, and now there's another new subdivision being constructed called Monteverde that's going to be constructed by next year. I don't mind the construction, that's not why I'm here. This is the reason why I'm here. Highway 359 has gotten so busy, the traffic has tripled in the last 3 years alone. And where I live, the mailboxes that we've had on the side to get our mail, it is constantly a risk that I put myself just to get my letters. And I don't even know, sometimes I don't even want to get it because the traffic is so bad. And going back to what you were talking about with the illegal dumping, a lot of it falls off to the side of the highway. And it also puts us in danger to even get the mail because you find mattresses, boxes, sheets of metal, and I don't know what else. And it gets to the point where I don't even want to check my mail. But what else can I do? I can't get any mail to the front of my house because they don't want to go inside the street. And sometimes if I get the chance to get them in the street, they don't want to take it because it's considered an unsafe neighborhood, which it really isn't. It just looks that way. But at some point, we're constructing more and more, and we're not accommodating the traffic. We have no traffic light there. The mailboxes are still there on the side. And it becomes to a point where even my own wife doesn't want me to check the mail. She thinks that the truck is gonna hit me. And she's not wrong, sometimes I have that fear too. And my question is, how come they can't move those mailboxes? Why am I still risking my life just to get my letters? What is going on? Because 20 years ago, this wasn't an issue. Sure, the traffic wasn't so bad. But if we're gonna continue to expand 359, I'm all for progress. I really am. I love that we're growing. I'm not against the city of Laredo growing. But why are we not changing the things to grow with it? You know, we can barely keep the water clean, let alone protect us from having to just get something as simple as our mail.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to be scared to get my mail. That makes no sense.
You shouldn't. So mail is the United States Post Office. And I think, and I don't know if there's anybody here in a department that can help, but I think it's like their purview. But what we can do is start a conversation and
Absolutely.
see about if we, and that road is also controlled by Texas Department of Transportation. So it's gonna be a conversation with TxDOT and USPS to
Okay.
see about moving those mailboxes to someplace safer.
Yes, because another reason I'm here is because, again, the mailboxes is the #1 issue, yes. But since that part of Laredo is like right in the border where the city limits ends, usually we don't know who to bring this to the city or to the county. Because right now, they say that we need to talk to county. But then they say, oh, well, this is a city problem. But it's like we're stuck in the middle. And it's not that I don't know, like, I want help.
Yes, yes.
But it's just like they'd say, oh, well, that's not our fault, like that's their fault. Then we go to them and they say, well, that's technically the city's problem. So then whose problem is it? I don't know who to ask because they're saying that it's the other person, but no one wants to take responsibility.
So if I'm thinking in the right place, you are in this like box that is unincorporated, so it hasn't been annexed by the city.
No.
And that's probably why you're getting the runaround. But the mailbox being on 359, that's a city issue. I mean,
Okay.
but, you know, the state controls the road. The Texas Department of Transportation actually controls that road.
Okay.
So we'll start a conversation.
Absolutely.
And that way we can get TxDOT there, we can get someone from USPS, and we can figure out how to make it safe.
Absolutely.
Because everybody, city, county, wants you to be safe. You
Yes.
should not have to risk your life. And Highway 359 is getting busier. And the issue is we don't have any throughways,
Okay.
right? It's all the soonest you can get out on some other road than 359 is Concord Hills Boulevard, and only
Yes.
if you want to go south. And then it just loops you around to get to the loop, right? You can't even cross to Century City.
No.
Not yet. Eventually, that's where it'll be going, but not yet. So there is a road being planned from the Life Downs.
Okay.
It's a county road, and it'll come through to around Gator Point. They haven't quite aligned it yet, but it's in the process of being planned. The big issue is that it has to go over the railroad tracks. So that kind of bridge is a very expensive project. But the county is already working with the Kennedy and Pacific Kansas City Southern Railway to try to plan this and get this done. I think the price tag for it is still in discussion. That will be a longer conversation, but we need to get an alignment first. That will be a relief route. The city can't step in because it's still county land. All of that land between 359 at the end of Gator Point to 59, it's still county land. Until the developers begin development and this road signals that that's what they'll be doing, well then they ask to be annexed by the city, and then the city can come in and be a bigger part of that process.
Okay.
But the fact that the city development has happened all along this very narrow corridor and also on 59, but we haven't had the infill, has made connectivity a really huge issue for anyone out on 359. So it's E.G. Ranch Road. Also, hopefully, there's plans in the future for it to extend south and there to be a connection to maybe Los Presidentes Boulevard. But again, that's in the future. Because the way the city grows and develops, we depend on the land developer to begin that infill. They're responsible for the roads, and the city can pick up and help once the land becomes annexed to the city.
Okay. And I mean, just one more thing, and because I also have this question. The traffic light, is there any way they can implement another traffic light there on 359 right in front of Gator Point? And the only reason I bring this up is, again, they're gonna construct more subdivisions. And again, like I said before, I'm not against progress. It's just, what are we doing to adapt to it? Because if we continue to build more homes, which means more traffic, how are we preventing accidents before they happen? We've already had so many accidents on that particular stretch of highway. And then it becomes like, when is it enough? You know, and I just want to make sure people understand it's not just for my safety, it's for everyone's safety. I don't see why someone has to lose their life until we see that, and then it's like, okay, let's do something.
So there are a couple of things right now. There is a safety plan. It's called the Vision Zero Safety Plan, and it's a study to see where our hot points are, and 359 is included in this study. And it's intended to identify the areas, and then once they're identified, then the city will be eligible for federal funds to target that issue. It's a slow process. I was explaining here that TxDOT has agreed to put a light at where the HEB on Guadalupe is.
Okay.
Same reason. People are crossing this very busy road all the time to get their groceries.
Yes.
It's a $350,000 project for a stoplight. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's probably why it doesn't happen as often as it should. It's just you have to have like a proof of project before they'll spend the money like that. But they've agreed to do that, and then they've also agreed the same time frame, so we're talking December 2025, but they've agreed to put a light at the intersection of Willow Oak and 359, which is in between Concord Hills Boulevard and Las Misiones. And that should help with those neighborhoods trying to get out and merge into,
Yes.
merge into 359. Farther along though, that's gonna probably depend on the outcome of that study. They know that there's an issue because they're expanding 359 into 4 lanes
Yes.
for 2 miles and then, or 3 miles and then 5 lanes for 2 miles. That might be reversed. But they're expanding 359 because of the traffic. So they already know that this road carries a lot of cars and trucks.
Yes.
So it is on the spotlight of TxDOT, but they do control that road. So the city of Laredo can synchronize the lights and works on like, you know, painting lines and things like that, but TxDOT is responsible for that roadway. Do we have other questions? Any of you?
Okay, no. Code enforcement. Our neighborhood looks like the ghetto, and it's really, it's awful. You know, you drive around and people have 10 million things in front of their house, the cars are parked in front of the house, the washing machine is in, I mean, it's just, it's horrible. How does that, how do they check that, or how do you know, do I call and report my neighbor has 10 million things, we have rodents, we have possums, we have whatever. How do you fix that?
Well, I do know that there are things that have to happen for it to fall under public nuisance and public health issues. Code enforcement wants to explain a little bit about how they make those determinations.
We go through an inspections.
Gabby, can you? Thank you. Well, because we need the people online to be able to see or to hear. Thank you.
So the reports come in.
It's a good question.
Good evening. My name is Inspector Castañon with Code Enforcement, and to answer your question, the way that we start looking into those issues, you just report them via 311. We send they send us the report, and after that, it's assigned to a specific inspector that's assigned to the area. We go do our inspection, determine if there's a violation, like you explained, if there's you said washing machines? So if there's washing machines and...
Drains into the street.
What was that?
It drains into the street.
Oh, it drains into the street, the water. Okay, so that will be with another department, but we can look into it as well. We go inspect the area, the property has been reported, take our pictures. We'll leave a notice. We give them time to work with them to assess to fix the issue. And if it belongs to another department, like I mentioned, because if that's already, they're draining the water from their washing machines, that will be, I don't know what department will look into it, but
The environmental.
environmental? Okay, so then we can take those pictures and open a work order and report it to them as well. But we'll do our part as well in letting them know and work with environmental inspectors as well, because they do have a court enforcement as well.
So what are the standards that you look for, or what are the things that you look for to be able to cite a property owner for having trash in their yard or machines in their yard or too many cars? What requirements do you have in order to do that?
we go based off with the city ordinance, anything that's an eyesore, a nuisance, I mean, if,
But we have to report it.
Yes.
Because you obviously don't have time to ride around the entire city and say, hey, look at that house, looks like a disaster.
yes,
We have to call report.
we do drive around, but, I mean, sometimes it is a big help to have the issue reported via
Sure.
311.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
And one last thing, and I'm gonna shut up. So there's this little canal that is in the neighborhood that water goes through, it goes down the street, goes into the Chaco. On our little neighborhood, whatever deal, you know, people say that they have reported the overgrowth of that canal, that the water is actually going onto somebody else's property and not properly going through, so they can come and cut all the, you know, weeds and stuff that are there, because it collects pretty bad. Sometimes we can't even get our mail because the mud is so deep there. So you say, you know what, just let it dry and we'll get it later. Why have they not come to clean that and
So
get rid of it?
This is an issue in another neighborhood also. Sometimes those drainage areas are not city property. So I don't actually know. The weeds can only get to how high before they can get cited for?
12 inches.
12 inches. So anything higher than 12 inches is when the city can come and cite a private property owner, or usually it's the development that hasn't given up that land. They can cite them, but the city cannot do the work to clear it. So that's why there's a delay. I would assume that once the development property, or the property owner is cited, they come and do that. Do you have experience with that, Mr. Porter? Sometimes it takes a while.
I'm sorry, I don't, which area was it?
In Villa del Sol,
In Villa del Sol?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I'll get your.
okay.
So it depends on who owns the property.
I don't think anybody does, 'cause it's been there since we were there in 1976. So,
What was the question again?
The drainage ditch.
it's like a canal.
A canal
A car
in
can
Villa del
fit
Sol.
there.
Oh.
But it's been there since we got there in 1976.
Okay.
And it's overgrown, so the water tends to whoosh,
Overflow.
and that, yeah,
It's not doing its work because it can't.
yeah.
Of the
So I don't think it's private property, but I don't know.
In other neighborhoods, we've run into that problem that it is.
Oh,
And-
okay.
And the city's hands are tied, but if it's a city property,
If
then
it
it
is,
should be.
somebody's, I'll clean it myself. Just get rid of it, you know? Okay. That's all.
No, thank you for being here. Any other questions?
Well, it's
Yes.
not a question, but it's a concern. Like right here in front of, QT Saunders, the overpass, there's like 10 lights that don't work. And they've been like that like forever. So I just wanna know like, how come they don't get fixed?
That's something that, it's a TxDOT road, so
I think
I'm,
it pertains to TxDOT, but it's the overpass by Saunders and QT, and even right here in front of Walmart. There's 10 lights that don't work, and it's very dark at night.
do we know what department works to get that to TxDOT? Traffic? Trying to talk to traffic for a while. All right, well, we'll work on that, and you know what, we'll ask the assistant city manager to call them, because I've been trying to get a hold of them too. But yes, no, we're gonna make it happen, but thank you for that. Anything else? Yes.
Well, mira, yo vivo aquí en Ponderosa Hills, on Fairfield.
Yes.
I live in the subdivision. Llevamos tiempo viviendo ahí nosotros como 14 años. Al principio cuando llegamos ahí, the police department used to pass twice a day. Ahorita ya no pasa, durante todo el día no pasa nadie. If you see in Fairfield Drive, there's a banner we have Killing School. After 5 o'clock in the afternoon, está todo solo. En las noches tiran balazos, echan carreras ahí con carros, y no es para, y se ha reportado muchas veces, y no llega la policía. Lo que queremos es que tan siquiera que pase la policía 1 o 2 veces durante el día. No estar ahí. El tiempo pasado se paraban en la escuela de Killam, se quedaban 1 hora, 2 horas, y era seguido. Era de todos los días porque teníamos un problema en aquellos tiempos. Hubo un problema de mucho robo. Y ahorita se paró el problema, ya no pasa ningún policía. Las muchachitas van a caminar después de las 3, 4 de la tarde, salen todas a caminar. A las 6 de la mañana también salen a caminar cuando llego del trabajo, y no se mira ningún movimiento de policía que pase por ahí. No sé si se puede arreglarse el problema de mandar policía nada más a drive in the neighborhood. It's been lonely for a while already.
Sí, no, buenas tardes, thank you for bringing it up. Pero sí, tenemos policías en esa área, ¿verdad? Tal vez a veces no los ve, porque a veces andan en otra llamada porque cubren un distrito, ¿verdad? No nomás ahí, pero como digo, nosotros vamos a decirle a los oficiales que le pongan más empeño ahí para que los vean más de los problemas que están teniendo. Y lo que sí le decimos es que nos llamen a reportar, ¿verdad? Y usted dice que sí nos llaman,
sí.
Síganos llamando, ¿verdad? Porque nosotros lo que hacemos es hotspot policing. Donde nos llaman, ahí vemos el problema, ahí vemos que hay crimen, que hay cosas que tenemos que hacer para resolverlo, ¿verdad? Como en ese ejemplo que dio usted de los problemas que tenía hace unos cuantos años.
Sí.
Pero no, sí, como le digo, cuente con nosotros, vamos a decir a los oficiales del área que le den más la vuelta ahí.
Sí.
¿Okay?
Está bien, gracias.
Gracias.
Otra pregunta que tenía, en la entrada de Fairfield, volvemos para atrás. Back in the days when we started there, we don't have an association, how do you call it, another subdivisions. We don't have one. Pero cuando yo empecé en ese neighborhood, teníamos árboles, desde la entrada hasta cuando termina casi la escuela, de los 2 lados. El tiempo que he estado ahí, la ciudad ha tumbado unos 8 a 12 árboles. Había sprinklers desde la entrada hasta cuando termina la escuela. Ya como alguien dijo ahorita, lo he reportado varias veces lo he reportado a la ciudad. Los árboles te están secando. La gente que ve corta el paso desde la ciudad, les he preguntado a ellos, oye, los sprinklers cuando se van a componer. Dice, es que eso no los toca a nosotros. ¿Con quién se queja eso? ¿Con quién se va a quejar uno? ¿Me entiendes? Si la misma ciudad es lo que nos está quebrando. We have sprinklers all Fairfield. No hay ningún sprinkler. Y como te digo, el árbol se seca, para y lo cortan. Y queda el tronco. Y si pasas por Fairfield, me imagino que has pasado ahorita, están los troncos parados. ¿Por qué? Porque there's no water. Tiramos zacate en toda la entrada. Está seco totalmente.
Mr. Porter, sorry, do you know anything about, I think it would be Public Works, but do you know anything about the trees that line Fairfield? And if they're city trees or if that was part of the Killam development?
That I don't know. We have it's right away, then it would be Public Works.
So it should be Public Works. I don't know why they haven't gone in to fix the sprinkler system. I know with the water restrictions we were under, that's been hard for a lot of the vegetation. But minimum, I mean, once a week for established trees should be okay. I can't tell you what's going on with them, but I can find out.
That's fine.
And if you'll share your information. Any other questions? No, we're such a small group. We have food, sandwiches, chips, drinks. The people in the apartments will be here for a little bit longer. What time is it? Oh, it's only 7:15. So please have food. If you have any questions, they'll be here for a little bit longer. And thank you so much for being here.